Happy New Year! It's time for Daddy to get back to work. Before I actually review the game, I just want to take a couple seconds to thank everybody that has stuck with me and the channel throughout my hiatus. Those who have personal contact with me know that my life has been in the midst of a crazy transition. Fortunately, things are on a bit of an upswing these days, and I thought, what better way to celebrate than to jump back up on that gaming horse. And now to get down to the brass tacks. Anyone ever wonder where that expression comes from? In my quest to find the perfect game to review, one game just kept coming up. Okay, I'm lying. Michael B. the Game Genie kept talking about it, and I decided to review the game before he did. I'm just being honest. Shadow of the Ninja is an action platformer released for the Nintendo Entertainment System and the Nintendo Famicom System. It was originally released in 1990 in Japan as Kaede. I'm assuming that's the Japanese pronunciation, but I could be butchering it. Kaede found itself facing revisions as it was released in other regions. Released as Blue Shadow in Europe in 1991, and of course as Shadow of the Ninja in the US later that same year. Besides the name changes, there was also obvious changes to the cover art. The Japanese cover art reminds me a lot of the intro to Ultraman. You may also know that Taito took the reins on distributing the European version. So let's talk about the actual game. I guess the story is as good a place as any to begin. The opening cutscene gives you the backstory, and frankly it is a very cliched plot. Cliched or not, the plot works, so I don't fault the game here. And let's be honest, what kind of plot would a game like this have? Well, see, that's what I thought. So let's talk about the game's look. It's very visually appealing to me. Not very long ago, I began to notice that many of the Konami titles had remarkably similar look. Think about it. Contra, Castlevania, Russian Attack, Monster in My Pocket. I realize this isn't a Konami title, but you know how that goes. You know, something jogs a thought. Anyway, Shadow of the Ninja has a similar look. I like that. Apart from that, there are also some very nice level designs and animations. But I find that that's all pretty standard fare and nothing completely mind-blowing. The game's audio is very nice. The sound effects are pretty standard, but it's the soundtrack that really pushes it to the next level. The music is killer. So, graphics, good. Audio, good. Gameplay, difficult. The gameplay itself is not that far removed from Ninja Gaiden, and much like Ninja Gaiden, the game is very difficult. You'll spend much of your time memorizing attack patterns and working your way through some very difficult platforming. Now, to kind of help you along your way, the game will offer you several power-ups for the player. I find it interesting that the power-ups that they do offer seem to be the best choices for getting through whatever section you are currently on. I made the mistake of pigeonholing myself into using a favorite power-up. This was a mistake. Go with the game's suggestion. As I mentioned, the platforming is difficult. You're not going to be able to blaze your way through this the same way you would a Mario game. You're going to have to take your time, dispatch your enemies, and creep your way forward. To help you deal with the game's difficulty, you are given 5 continues. Trust me, you're going to use them all up your first few attempts. But after a lot of memorization and practice, it'll be enough. Eventually. Hopefully. Maybe. Additionally, the game also boasts a pretty awesome feature. Co-op multiplayer mode. That's right, boys and girls, in the spirit of Contra, the game features a 2-player mode that allows both ninjas to square off against evil. The nice thing is that this will help with boss battles. The downside is that it makes platforming much more tricky. At least it does for me. So, what's my final verdict? I like this game. A lot. It's probably one of the funnest games of its type I've played in a very long time. It's different enough from other games to be fresh, but similar enough to feel like home. The game itself commands a pretty healthy price tag these days online. But if you're fortunate enough to come across a good deal somewhere, perhaps in the wild, I would definitely recommend you checking it out. Well, that's it. The first review of the new year. I hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to rate, comment, subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.